Welcome in. Wednesday live chat for this week's Hero World Challenge, or really, I guess, anything else you want to talk about. I think this is going to be pretty low key today, right? There's 20 golfers in the field. I could do a deep dive on all of them, probably not get to an hour. So we'll see how long this goes. If you want to talk about anything else, if you want to learn together on the fly, if we want to find out answers to questions we've always had, now's the time. So really anything you want in the chat, we can talk about. Some potential ownership, some potential weather, the season-long fantasy leagues that are filling up like crazy right now, and the drafts that are going on there. So really kind of open forum, and we'll go until we run out of things to talk about. That seems pretty fair. Tom says, good to see you're back from IKEA. What's a good target ownership projection for our lineups? Yeah, full disclosure, like I love IKEA. It's great, right? There's so much going on there. Armina was like, I could live at IKEA. I was like, yeah, of course it's like a 500,000 square foot warehouse designed for everyone's wants and desires for living, with a restaurant. Like, of course you could live here. It's like, of course you could. They want you to say that, but yeah, love it over there. Okay. A good target ownership projection for our lap. So let's think about this. If you were in kind of an average week, 6 golfers, you'd have like average 16% ownership in each one of those spots, but you're rostering basically 6 out of 20, 6, 12, 18, like 30% of the field in every single lineup. I think if you were to keep it under 160, that feels kind of right-ish, right? You could get a 40% owned Scotty Scheffler and then kind of fill it out with some of the 20s guys, 420, yeah, something like that. 150, 160 feels like kind of an interesting number to start with. I don't know the right answer, Tom. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. Hey, Rick, can we do a deep dive on Morikawa and his strokes game putting on Bermuda in the last 36 rounds? Thanks, as always. Yeah, all right. So this is my website, RickRunGood.com. Everything you see is from here, barring except maybe the weather. But yeah, let's do this. So let's do strokes gained by round on Bermuda. We will sort by or filter by Colin, and then we will look at his putting numbers. So let's see. And then last 36 goes back to like what? It goes back pretty far. It goes back to like March. Lost 3 plus a half, lost 4 plus a half, lost 4.8. He has a lot more really bad putting weeks than he does have really good putting weeks. His best putting week of 2022 on Bermuda was plus 2.3. He had a couple of weeks that were worse than that on the negative side, all within his last handful of starts. So he's not a very solid putter in general, but he's really not all that good on Bermuda, right? So he's lost in the last season and then the start of this one, 2/3 of a stroke on putting on Bermuda. Overall, yeah, he's like 0.2 in the negative. So you can see this is not generally a surface that he finds great success on. And he doesn't find a lot of success on a lot of surfaces. But hey, maybe he finds it. Maybe he puts it all together. Rick, do you have any suggestions on how to approach this week from a DFS content standpoint? Better to just play some double up, skip GPPs, etc. Thanks. No. So I mean, I don't think I'm going to change the style of contest that I play. My brain works in a specific way. I like to play the GPPs. For me to try to switch around and then say, okay, I'm going to play the double ups or like the 4-mans. I don't know about that. I'm just going to adjust my strategy in the contest that I'm already playing. So I think it's a very heavy game theory week. You know what I mean? Like, Tony Finau projected to be 50% owned. John Rahm, 54% owned. Tom Kim, 46% owned. Can you play all 3 of those guys and win a GPP? Probably not, right? You would have to probably then play Kisner and Straka and Horschel, maybe, or not even, maybe Connors, and hope that those guys finish like 1, 2, 3. So I just think you've got to be a little bit different here in terms of ownership, in terms of builds. If you start your lineups, even starting with Tony Finau, I guess I could just show you the cheat sheet. So starting with Finau would get you out of 2 of like the 4 highest owned golfers in Scheffler and Rahm, and you would still get Finau, who's great and he's going to be heavily owned and all that stuff. That would at least probably give you a different build even though you are taking on one of the more highly projected golfers, or you just skip all these guys, right? You know, if you went Xander, Fitzpatrick, Burns, so on and so forth, I think you'll be different. And are you going to tell me those guys don't have a chance to win this golf tournament? So long story short, Andy, no, I'm just, or Dave, sorry, I'm just changing the strategy in which I'm playing. Andy says, if DraftKings was around in either 2000 or 2005 for prime Tiger, what would Tiger's salary have been for an average strength of field event? All right. So let's lay a baseline here. And we'll go to, where do I have this probably most handy? Here. And let's see just like what some of the higher salary golfers have been. So the Tour Championship, you kind of throw that out. So last handful of years, you haven't gotten like 13,000 is kind of the most they've gone with. And actually, I think if I uncheck this, I'll get more. Yeah, like 13, and that's Tour Championship stuff. All right, so if 12 or 13,000 is kind of our baseline, Tiger would have had to have been 19, right? 19,000. And you would have to decide whether you were going to spend a third of your salary on him. It may be even higher than that. I mean, there was a stretch of golf where he was winning like half of the events that he played. And odds makers were giving you like minus 110 Tiger versus the field. So if that's the case, maybe he's 20,000, maybe he's 25,000. You just have to decide whether to spend half your salary cap or not. And probably more often than not, you should have. Interesting. Jock Market Power Hour this week. Yep. Same time, same place, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. They've, I'll just show you right now, Brett. So they unveiled this, right? So constant innovation at Jock Market. So now they've got, just like an entry fee contest, similar to a DraftKings or a FanDuel or something like that, where you pay $50, everybody gets 1,000 chips, and then the prizes are paid out based on where your portfolio finishes. So this one that I have up is $50, $20 person contest. It pays out the top 5, $425 for first. So a different way to get involved, which I think is fun, because if you had $50 to invest, you know, in the Jock Market, would you say, okay, I'm going to go and buy 4 shares of Jon Rahm? Or would you say, I'm going to put $50 into this contest, and then I can get freaky and get some shares of Tom Kim and some shares of Rahm and some shares of Scotty. And like, it's just a different format. And I think that the more different formats that these guys put out there, and it helps to break down the barriers of entry for people, because I know I like options, right? I like options as well. So Jock Market, they're killing it. I'm stoked for them. They support everything we're doing in like the season-long fantasy side of things. Like they just absolutely get it. So go sign up, go enter this $50 contest, and then join us tonight for the Power Hour. There's a link in the description. Use the code RICK. It'll get you a deposit bonus as well. How long would Kiz have to be for you to throw $100 on him this week? Well, I can tell you that. So let me look at this. So Kiz, I saw Kiz as long as like 85-1. He won the simulation that I ran. So I ran the simulation. This is the tournament predictor on RickRunGood.com. You can just go look at this. He won my simulation 1.5% of the time. That's wild, right? So that actually kind of puts him right in that 70 to 80-1 range. So that's fair, what I believe to be fair. If you wanted to have something that was more than fair, if Kisner got to 90 or 100-1, yeah, that's where I would put $100 on him. That's where. Hey, Rick, you're the man. Thanks, Jay. How much would you leave on the table in a tournament this week? Do you think Tiger will be able to walk Augusta in April? I think that Tiger doesn't know how he's going to feel when he wakes up, and you're kind of at the mercy of, remember, it's not just the foot, right? Like the back, it's everything. I think Tiger is very much at the mercy of the way he feels in the morning. And when he walks a bunch of holes on Thursday, how's he going to feel on Friday? Right. So I have no idea. I think he'll put himself in a great position now, knowing, hey, maybe don't walk on the beach as much. You can get plantar fasciitis. I think he'll put himself in a position to be ready, but I think it's going to be luck of the draw. Is he going to feel good for 4 days? Is he going to feel okay for 4 days? All that stuff. As much as leaving money on the table, there's no amount I wouldn't leave. Seriously. Maybe I don't leave 10 grand, but this is a game theory week. The two easiest ways to be different are be contrarian and leave a lot of money on the table. And in a normal week, I'm fine with leaving $3,000 on the table. And we've seen the optimal lineups are rarely close to 50 grand and often leave multiple thousands of dollars on the table. And in a week like this, where the pricing is more spread out and there's only 20 guys, like I'll leave 6K on the table. Like, what do I care? Right. I just don't. I just think that's a better way to do this. Okay. So thoughts on Cam Young. Yeah. So I guess I'm like a 4 out of 10. I'm not concerned, but I do think that the last handful of starts have not nearly been as good as what we saw kind of in the summer, where he was piling up these top 10 finishes and he was going nuts and he was gaining 4, 5, 6, 7 strokes off the tee. We have seen him not drive it as well, right? BMW Championship 1.2, Tour Championship 1.8. We don't have the Zozo numbers, but he lost strokes to the field over the course of the week in that event, T53. And then the CJ Cup, he was pedestrian off the tee. That's not the recipe that I like for Cam Young. I want to see him gain 3 to 5 strokes off the tee and then be savvy around the green and putt well. So this is not super, super concerning because it's been a month and 5 weeks since we've seen him play. There's a really good chance he comes out and he's like, yeah, I fixed that stuff with my coach. I'm ready to rock and roll. So it's like a 4 out of 10. If 5 is average, I'm like a 4 out of 10. If you want to be different, you want to play Cam Young, go for it. But you need him to drive the ball better than he has in his last 3 measured starts if he's going to win this golf tournament. That's kind of the way I feel about it. If you get the first pick in the fantasy draft, who are you taking? Alex says Rahm. So I've done my big board. I've done my top 96. I will share that soon. I'm putting some content together. We're going to enter a couple of weeks here where there's not going to be a PGA Tour event. So the plan is to fill that time with a lot of more evergreen discussion, talk about the draft rankings, talk about the big board, talk about everything like that. I will tell you, I have Rory 1 and I have Rahm 2. Okay. It was very close for me. But Rahm probably ends up playing less than Rory does, I think. And Rory, I'm so high on both of them. I have Rory 1, I have Rahm 2. Spoiler alert, I have Tony Finau 3. Okay. That's kind of how I feel about that. More on that coming up, but yes, that's the way that I would do it. And I wouldn't, if you want to play John Rahm, I wouldn't kill you there. Right. Like why would I? Props. So Brett asked about props. So a couple of things. Whoops. There we go. A couple of things. They have both the European Tour up here and they've got the PGA Tour up here. And these birdie or better matchups, I know we haven't talked about these in a while. These have been just absolute bread and butter, taking the over on whoever the headliner is. Now, I will warn you, this field, because it is so strong, this is a week that I would not particularly just blindly hit these, because I think you have to be more selective. On the Euro Tour, I think you can just blindly get them, right? Like Dean Burmeister versus George Coetzee. I don't know I forget how he pronounces it. Like, boom, hit it. Adrian Otaegui over Juice Luton, hit it, right? Like these are wrong, right? These guys are, the headliners are much better. You take the overs here. On the PGA Tour side, the two that stand out to me for birdie or better matchups are Fleetwood, who's been phenomenal over the last 12 rounds, over Kisner, who I think is kind of in trouble here, and then Finau over Homo. Like, what version of Homo are we getting? Right? I mean, he's just had the baby. How much has he been playing? Finau's been rocking and rolling. Those are the two that I would target there. The other thing is 3 under. Tiger himself called this a birdie fest. So you're getting a lot of pretty decent numbers. Like, I think the wins are going to play a little bit of a factor, but not so much on Thursday. So we'll just do the win thing, right? So here's the 10-day. And what I love about the Bahamas, like, look how just standard this is. Every night the wind dies down, every morning it's windy, then it dies. It's just so consistent. Thursday, you're going to get gusted. It's going to be a little bit windier, 15 miles an hour, but Friday looks a lot worse. Friday looks like you're going to get winds in the 20s with gusts more than that. So I think you can lean on a little bit of these unders on Thursdays. And the ones that stand out, the volatile guy like Jordan Spieth, I don't mind. The Tommy Fleetwood, I'm not kidding. Tommy Fleetwood, last 12 rounds. I mean, last 24, he's the 5th best player in the field. Last 12 rounds, he's the 2nd best player in the field. Coming off of a win. Like, I'm pretty high on Tommy this week. I'd be taking the less on his prop as well. So those are the ones that kind of stood out to me as I was going through it. There's a link in the description for PrizePicks if you want to get your deposit bonus. It's Rick is the code that you're looking for. What's important at this course? So if you like the model says around the green is more important here than any other golf course on the PGA Tour schedule. There could be a lot of reasons for that. There's sand everywhere. Sometimes if you get gusted, especially on greens that are smaller than average, you might be missing these greens. And then guys with strong short games tend to have success. This does not mean you have to get up and down every single time or you've got to hole out 9 times to win this event. It just means that when you look at the entire year, guys that have been near the top of the leaderboard in strokes gained around the green have been near the top of the leaderboard at the Hero World Challenge. That's the way to understand this. Distance, I don't think distance has been highly correlated to success in the past. Plus they added like another 100 yards onto this. I think that that's going to come into play as well, which is why like Kisner feels like it's, and again, I'm going to get burned at one point just being like Kisner has no chance of winning this. I just feel like it's a really, really uphill battle for him. I just don't love the way that this sets up for him. Okay, sorry. I was getting. Actually, why don't we just do this? So I think on the scorecard it's like 7,400 yards now. So let's just do this. Let's just go to the Holy Grail and do courses over 7,400 yards, like just for kicks, right? Like, let's look at this. Who's dead last? Kevin Kisner. Like, was that any of a surprise there? He loses 3/4 of a stroke on golf courses that are over 7,400 yards. Let's actually just like go back a couple more years. Does he get any better? No, he gets worse. He's still dead last. This is back to the start of the 2020 season. It's actually worse if you go back further. What about adding another? Okay, a little bit better there, but we're talking about like 4 years of data that Kisner is kind of up a creek here. And that is not to say that like just the best players are kind of long as well, but like look at Sungjae. So dating back to the start of the 2020 season, Sungjae has more rounds than anybody, and he's $7,800 and he's the 4th best on courses over 7,400 yards. Corey Connors, 6,300. This is actually kind of interesting because Corey Connors, he's losing a bunch of strokes putting on these golf courses, but he's a much better putter now than he used to be. So I bet you if we like look at his putting numbers over the last couple of years, or what about more recently? Well, I was trying to build the narrative for Corey. Not as good as I was. Because I'm still in. Sorry. Sometimes let me get rid of the yardage thing because that doesn't really matter. Putting on long courses doesn't really matter. Yeah, there we go. And he's now a slightly positive putter. So Corey Connors is kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie. Some football chat in the. Yeah, Argentina is up 1-0. Can we look up? Oh, you know what? This is on me, Billy. So I used to have a button in the Holy Grail that you could click cut or no cut event. And in the midst of some of the I must have deleted it and not noticed it. So that's on me. So what I'll do, I mean, we've got time here. I'm just going to quickly try to go through the ones that stand out to me as no cut events. So let's see. I'm going to start at the bottom and just do like Zozo WGCs. Whoop, that was Maiko, but we'll like that. That's an easy one. We'll do the WGCs. We will do the Tour Championship. We will do, I'm just doing these off the top of my head. CJ Cup. Shriners, no. Tournament Champions, yes. Am I missing any? PGA, Puerto Rico, President's Cup, Olympics. We can throw the Olympics in there. We can throw in Hero, obviously. We can do FedEx St. Jude because that's down to 70 no cut, right? I'm just, again, doing this off the top of my head. If I miss one, don't beat me up for it. BMW Championship. I think that's all of them. So here we go. So best players in no cut events. John Rahm 1, Justin Thomas 2, Xander Schauffele 3, Scotty Scheffler 4, Sam Burns, who I did bet Sam Burns, is 5th. And Sam Burns should have won this event last year. Like, let's be kind of clear here. And I got him at, I think, 20-1. So yeah, you can do it like this. Worst player in no cut events, Jordan Spieth. Did we see that coming? He's worse than Max Homa. Why did I say it like that? Max Homa. Wow. Jordo, not very good. Also, the 16 strokes he lost here last year does not help this. But boy, he has lost strokes in no cut events in 5 of 7. This is the stuff I wanted to get into, right? A little sleepy Wednesday in December, no Tiger. Like, come on. Like, what? Like, we can get into stuff like this. That's fine. That's fair. Thanks, Billy. Good afternoon, Rick. Hope all is well. Thank you. In this field, who are the top golfers around the green and the best contrarian play? All right, mate. Let's look into this. So we will do the Holy Grail, and we'll just do anybody in this field. What do you want to do since the start of last season? That's kind of a lot of rounds. Most guys have 50 to 120 rounds. We'll just do around the green. Make sure I don't have anything else checked. I don't. This is just PGA Tour events, but that's fine. Tommy Fleets. So here we go. So here's the case, Badger. Fleetwood is the second best player in the last 12 rounds. He is the best around the green player on a golf course that statistically around the green is more important here relatively to any other golf course on the PGA Tour. And the last time he played here, he finished 3rd. Are we building that? Like, is Tommy just going to win this? Kind of feels that way. Or at least he's going to play well. Kind of feels that way, right? Maybe I should have bet Tommy. Did I bet Tommy? No, I bet Rahm and Burns and Victor, but that doesn't count. Rahm and Burns were the 2 I bet. Maybe I should have bet Tommy. Fitzpatrick is 2. Then Billy Horschel, then Scotty Scheffler, then Sung J.M. So if you're looking for, or then Justin Thomas, then Sung J.M. Apologies to JT. I've just overlooked him. So there you go. Oh, and the best contrarian play? Actually, give me 1 second because I just saw Mike Cavalunas, who does the projected ownership for RickRunGood.com, just updated the ownership like while we're on air. So let me just see what his updated ownership is and what he has. Okay. I could give you a behind the scenes look. Is that what we want at this point? All right. This is the sheet that we use. And I'll load this into the tools here in a second. Here's the behind the scenes look. This is updated as of like 10 minutes ago. So Straka, okay, probably Corey Connors might be your best contrarian play. If you want to swap off of Tom Kim at 40% to Corey Connors at 14, kind of interesting. The other one, if we want to get off of Morikawa, how about Shane Lowry? 17%. Morikawa 40, Shane Lowry 17. Other than that, those make the most sense to me. Let's look up Shane Lowry real quick. Because again, if you're only paying attention to PGA Tour events, you are not, I'm like that guy who's like, golf's played more places than America. It's true. Won on the European Tour, BMW PGA Championship, played well at the CJ Cup, and then was kind of middle of the road at the DP World Tour Championship where he lost a bunch of strokes ball striking, but that is his worst ball striking week in over a year. It's probably not going to happen again. And if you look at the power rankings, I mean, what do we want to do? 50 rounds? Shane Lowry where is Lowry? In terms of approach play, he's one of the best approach players we have out here, right? He's better than Connors. He's between Fleetwood and Connors in the last 50 rounds on approach. It's pretty solid stuff. Kisner's also going to be hammered every night here. That's possible. How excited are you for the Rory Tiger Sim League on the horizons? Do you think there'll be betting markets? Interesting. I don't know. I don't even really know the formats yet, but in general, quite excited. You might have heard me say this before, that there are 2 distinct fan bases for golf in general. And that's a problem the PGA Tour has that not a lot of other leagues have. The one fan base is the one that the broadcast caters to, which is my dad, who's just checking in from the recliner in between naps on Saturday and Sunday and can name 12 golfers My dad can name more than that, but like that demographic. And that's why the ads are Rolex and luxury cars and like pharmaceuticals and like all that stuff, right? The other fan base is the growing fan base, which is the sports betting fantasy younger audience that doesn't have the disposable income, but they're much more passionate and can name 150 golfers because they follow what Joel Damon and Hayden Buckley and everybody else do every single week. The Tiger Rory thing feels like it is catering towards that younger demo, which I think is exciting. And if you can play more, if you can see these guys hit shots more frequently or more rapidly, show it all on television, do it in an arena, it'll be really cool. I want to be involved in a different way. Like do they need like an analyst? Hello? Who do I call? Do I just call Tiger directly and say, hey, do you need somebody? I'll fly to wherever you're going to do this, 14 times a year and we'll knock it out of the park. We'll talk about betting odds. We'll do all the data stuff. So I don't know. I got to figure out how to get involved in that. So Matt is saying Straka might be worth a click. His words, not mine. 60-1 or more. Long, Bermuda. Let's look at what old Sepp has been up to. The good news, it's not pretty, Matt. The good news is that he is capable of popping. He's got those 2 runner-up finishes, and he played great at the Tour Championship. However, it is a lot of horrible stuff in between. And I just don't know what's super predictive about this. Like, is there a through line between Jackson, Atlanta, Wilmington, and Memphis, other than it was just 4 weeks in a row and he was probably feeling good about his game? Other than that, I'm not sure there's a huge through line between why he found success there. So yeah, I think it's a dart throw. And if you want to throw a dart at 60-1 or 70-1 in a 20-man field, have at it. Oh, something happened in the soccer game. I won't say what, just in case you're DVRing it. Okay. We are literally at the end of the question. So I knew this was going to be a little sleepy, a little slow. So I'm going to pause here for just a second. I'll give you an update on where we're at for the season-long stuff. And then if we're done, we're done. We'll all go eat lunch. It won't be a big deal. And we'll enjoy this golf tournament, next week or tomorrow. So let's look at this. So if you want to play fantasy, season-long fantasy, this is the spreadsheet that we're working off of. There are currently, as of 5 minutes before I started this, 42 spots available in leagues right now. If you want to go get a league, there are 42 spots available right now. You can do that. If you do not see something that fits your fancy, whether it is by entry fee or matchup system or whatever, you can create your own. You can be the commissioner. It's not that hard. It's a 5-minute process, and then you're not really even in charge of anything. And if you run into any big issues, just let me know. But like, it's not that big of a deal. So let me show you how to get to this. So there's a couple ways to get to this, but you should also follow this Twitter account, which is a Twitter account that I created for this, which is @RunGood Fantasy. The pinned tweet is this post on my Substack. You can also get there by going to RickRunGood.com or RickRunGood.substack.com. So this will show you. You can join a league, all the instructions you need to join a league, or if you want to start your own league, all of the instructions are here to start your own league. And then you can put it in that spreadsheet and fill it with other people, and I'll promote it. It shows you step by step, 5 minutes. You can order a trophy. You can get your news and updates. You can fix your rankings. It is all there for you. Okay. So that is how you get into a league, start a league. As of this morning, there were 487 people that were already in leagues. Congratulations. And we are still 5 weeks out from it starting. What I've also done is I've created some leagues that I'm just going to be the treasurer of. So that's what you're seeing here. These 5 leagues, I'm not participating in these 5. I'm already in 8. So I'm going to hold off for now. But these 5, I'll at least just be the commissioner of and fill so that everybody can play. The draft starts. The money's being held on fan tracks. I'll just be the treasurer and allocate the funds at the end of the season. That's kind of the way that I'm thinking about this. So that's the update for season long. And I've got a lot of stuff up my sleeve that I'm cooking for this league that I got a bunch of people to play in that we're going to draft in person. I don't know if this has been announced yet. So I've got a league that I worked really hard to find, like, people that could be really strong advocates for season-long fantasy. And we're going to draft live in studio in Las Vegas. Literally, I got everybody to fly in. This is wild. And we're going to do it in the Blue Wire studio at the Wynn in January. If you're going to be around January 7th and you're going to be at the Wynn, we will be there drafting. We will probably go to Circa afterwards. Okay. So it'll be fun. It'll be great. The boys are coming out. I'll have more details on that, but it's going to be awesome stuff. What we're building is pretty cool. All right. Season long ranks may be a top 5. All right. Since you asked so nicely, here's my top 5. I have it as Rory, Rahm, Finau, Scheffler, Cantlay. That's my top 5. I'll also give you 60 through 65. Grillo, Merritt, Putnam, Straka, Poston, Hadwin. 6 golfers, 60 through 65. Where does the first live golfer show up for me? 74th, Cam Smith. That's my first live golfer. So there you go. Those are the rankings. I will release them in full shortly. I just need to do a couple more tweaks. I need to figure out a better way to format it. I need to do all that stuff. You'll see that over the course of the next couple of weeks. How much facial hair will be left on December 1st? I was hoping to go get a haircut today. So I have a system in place. I mean, we're at this point, right? So here's the system. I never go clean cut, right? So you trim the beard, then you go get a haircut and you have them match it so that it all grows together. Then you repeat the process. So I was hoping to go get a haircut today. We'll see if that happens. So if that happens, not that much will be left on December 1st. But if I can't get there till tomorrow, I'm going to look exactly the same as I do right now. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you guys. Season-long fantasy, we're going to draft in person. It's going to be absolutely insane. We're going to have a power hour tonight, and Jock Market has new stuff going on. The website, RickRunGood.com. Plug it. Here it is. I have a ton of stuff that I'm working on for the next couple of weeks that will hopefully be live January. And I'm stoked about all that. So lots of new updates are coming there. Content wise, I have some ideas and I have most stuff planned out. If there's anything you want to see in the next 4 weeks, so next week is QBE, 3 weeks off. I mean, there'll be PNC, there'll be here or the match and all that stuff. If there's anything you want to see, ideally something that does not expire right away, now is your chance. Tweet me, email me. Now is your chance to get that out there. What are you doing with Taylor Montgomery in season long? Quite high. I think I have him 15th. Yeah, which is pretty crazy. But you have to remember I have him 15th. There is a really fine line that we have to walk on volume versus average. And Taylor Montgomery might play a ton. And he's probably going to play a lot more than a lot of his peers. And if he is anything close to what we saw in the fall, where he made more birdies than anybody, where he played 7 times and had like 6 top 15s, if he is anywhere close to that for 21 starts next year, he might be the highest scoring fantasy player in aggregate. So I'm quite high on Taylor Montgomery. Yes, there is a little gray hair coming in on the side and at the top too. Will your draft be live? No. So it will not be live, but it will be posted probably within 12 hours the next day. So what we also did, I'm so stoked about this. So we also chose team names that were like franchises. Then I hired a guy to create our branding and our logos for each and every team. So I'll give you an example. And I've already announced this. Joe Idoni's in the league, right? So his team is the Palm Beach Coconuts. So he is going to have, it's going to look like a professional sports team, and he's going to have a logo. It's going to have branding. So what we're going to do is, with that information and with the picks, we're going to be inserting graphics in, or Armina's going to be inserting graphics in. So it will take a little bit of production after the draft. It will not be live, but it'll be posted probably the next morning is probably the way that it'll end up going down. Anything else? We can get out of here. It's up to you. We might be at the end here. Appreciate everybody's support. I mean, it's awesome. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. A lot of people took advantage of the promo for RickRunGood.com. And I think got 18% back, 19% back is what they got. And I will tell you, and I've already said this before, for the first time in 3 years, I'm going to raise the prices of RickRunGood.com on January 1st. They're not going to go up a lot. I still think it'll be fair, but I want to invest some back into the site. And as I've told everybody, like, there are people who are still paying $8 a month for it, because once you lock in your membership, no matter when it was, if it's always active, you're always getting that price. So I would suggest signing up if you haven't, and then don't cancel, because you'll always get that price, which I think is fair. I don't like changing the price on people who signed up for something already. All right. I think that'll do it. Oh, I don't have a producer today, so I have to sign off myself. Okay. I'll see you tonight, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, Jock Market. It's going to be a lot of fun. 20 golfers. We'll talk through it all. Wishing you guys the best of luck. And I'll talk to you soon.